Good morning, fellow Malaysians. This is Matthias Chang once again from Future Fast Forward. Today, my address to all of you will be startling or shocking to most of you. But I swear to Almighty Allah that what I say will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. If I lie to you or misrepresent to all of you what I say to you today, may Allah curse me and strike me down this very moment. Because what I say to you will help the country progress and defeat all our enemies, especially those who are within our midst, the agent provocateurs, deep moles, double agents, spies, and what have you. We have changed our government under the Najib regime, and now we have a new government. But believe you me, or all of you Malaysians, evil never die, or evil is never ever totally be defeated. The remnants of the old regime are still with us, and new evil will manifest and emerge in many various ways. This is the reality, and this is how God Almighty Allah tests us, our faith and our devotion. Having said that, I urge all of you, as I've said in the past, many times, surrender completely, unconditionally to the will of Allah, God Almighty. Have absolute faith that He will protect, defend, and guide us under all circumstances in the face of evil, enemies, adversities, and challenges. Please, I'm begging you to subscribe to this very important principle, to surrender unconditionally, completely to Allah, God Almighty, and the absolute faith in Him. Because many people have asked me why I'm so cocksure of victory against Najib regime. And every speech I have made, and I've made altogether 98 speeches via video over 3.5 years, is because though I'm a Christian, the very fact my name is Matthias Chang. Matthias is the name of the apostle that replaced the traitor Judas. I've always explored the teachings of the other faith. And I study every day the Holy Quran. And in the Holy Quran, there are many passages which I will refer to later that says very clearly, if you're a believer, you believe the truth, you follow the teachings within the Holy Scripture, you cannot suffer defeat. Because God Almighty is always with us. He is always with us, in us, and around us. No one can defeat us, and no one can oppose us, notwithstanding our weaknesses, our transgressions. For we will be forgiven if we strive to believe and hold true. And in all my video speeches, I always say to all of you, am I right? Truth is a sword to defeat our enemy. Faith is the shield to protect us. Bear that in mind, please. I want to say to you, before I go to the substance of my speech today, I'm very fortunate that I have a good friend who, whenever I pray and meditate and I receive messages either by instinct or by vision, I never hesitate to share what I have experienced, received with this dear friend of mine. And soon after, telling him I will do a video address. So believe you me, my video address is not based on some speculation, but research as guided by the will of Allah. Now, you will recall, please go to YouTube, type in Matthias Chang videos, and a whole list of videos will come out. You will recall on the 6th of May, I give an address, PH 2/3 majority, we will win. 6th May is well before the polling day, 6th May. And in that video I said, we can win by 2/3 if there's no cheating. If we aim high, we fall short, we'll still get the majority. And that was my confidence. Way before the election. I don't think anyone, I stand to be corrected, has such confidence of winning with such a majority. And truth be told, and I'll offer 1 million ringgit reward to anyone who can disprove what I say. Go and ask Tun Mahathir Mohamad, the current Prime Minister of Malaysia. On the evening of 9th May, polling day, just after the closing of the polls, I went to his house, roughly 7 p.m. Because of the messages I received, what I know at that moment, before election polling results came out. Results came out on the 10th of May in the morning, close to 4 a.m. I stood before him and I said, we will win. He said, how sure are you? Very sure. We will win. 7 p.m. Reinforcing what I said on 6th May in my video address. And I gave a warning to him. Grievous warning that he may be derailed, sabotaged of becoming the Prime Minister. And these are my words. Don't trust any lawyers. Don't bring any lawyers with you to the palace. If at all, you bring 2 retired senior judges of the federal court. 2. And I will explain later. And I asked him, can I bring them to see you? He agreed. He said, bring them to Sheraton Hotel. I swear in the name of Allah, God Almighty, this was conveyed to Mahathir Mohamad. Don't bring any lawyers with you. Don't trust any lawyers with you. Bring 2 judges with you. And I'll explain later. Now, I will go to the substance, giving this background to all of you. In the early morning of the 10th of May, I had a meeting with Tun Mahathir, the 2 judges and myself. That was what I requested. But there, unfortunately, maybe fortunately, some people get crashed into the meeting. Okay? Now, before I go further, I want all of you to recall and recollect. You watched on television live, didn't you? The swearing of Tun Mahathir, the oath of office. You saw first, he was beckoned by a senior official of the palace, and he took his oath before the Argon. Remember that? He took the oath before the Argon. And then he went to a table to his right. Am I right? And he saw him, Tun Mahathir, signing, I think, 5 times. And thereafter, the Chief Justice signed, I believe, as a witness. Bear in mind. His visual is with you, in your mind. You can recall straight away. Now we put the visual aside, and what actually happened of the swearing in of Tun Mahathir as Prime Minister. Now coming back to the meeting in the room at the Sheraton Hotel PJ. Once again, I told Tun, you must bring with you to the palace, if called upon to do so, the 2 judges. Because if you, Tun Mahathir, or anyone goes to the king at his request, if he asks any legal question, you cannot answer Tun Mahathir because you are a subject matter. You'll be sworn in as the incoming Prime Minister. Most likely the king will have been advised by the Attorney General or even the CJ on many matters. So that if, given a scenario, the opposition parties are not represented by brilliant judicial minds, but by lawyers, no matter how experienced they are, more likely than not, the king, the Argon, would prefer the advice of a government lawyer, the JG, or the Chief Justice, if they had advised him, or would be advising him. So, the peoples will be at a disadvantage. That's why I said 2 judges must be there. 2 judges. And they were there. Without going into further details, I would say, without fear of contradiction, but for the presence of the 2 judges, reading the name, Tun Mahathir Mohamad may not be the Prime Minister today. Why? Because in that meeting, having said that don't trust any lawyers, don't bring any lawyers to the palace but with 2 judges, an individual advised Tun Mahathir, you must ensure the resignation or retirement of the Chief Justice. Otherwise, your appointment will be illegal, unlawful, and unconstitutional. Because, they say, the appointment of the Chief Justice is unconstitutional, illegal, and unlawful. Therefore, if you take your oath of office before the CJ, your oath will be challenged, invalidated as being unconstitutional, unlawful, illegal, because it's taken before the CJ. Bear in mind, recall the vision, what you saw on that day. Are they interjected? Rubbish, dude. Rubbish. You take the oath before the Argon, not anyone else, as provided by the Constitution. And upon taking the oath before the Argon, you are deemed appointed by the Argon. Not by law, not by Constitution, but by other convention. The Chief Justice is the witness. So if the judge, Chief Justice, were to retire on that day or resigned, it is more than speculation. It is very probable that the Argon will adjourn the swearing in of ceremony because there's no CJ to witness. And no replacement of CJ would have been possible because Tun is not the Prime Minister as yet. He has not taken the oath of office. And Najib is not the Prime Minister as well because upon the results being declared who was the victor, the caretaker government doesn't exist anymore. Najib is no longer the Prime Minister. There will be a lacuna, a big gap. And if the Agong insists, he will only have the swearing ceremony in the presence of a witness such as a CJ, and there be none to postpone it. He can't be faulted. You see the danger? The insidious danger of that advice? To insist in the 11th hour, the Chief Justice must retire, failing which the swearing in of Tun Mahathir as Prime Minister is invalid, illegal, unlawful, or unconstitutional. Compare that to my advice to the incoming Prime Minister then in the Hilton Hotel. No, you take the oath before the Agong. And you saw it, right? Am I right? Live on television. Can you see how insidious it is? What could have happened? There could be delayed, confusion, and even challenged. But God Almighty intervened and saved the day. I need not say more. But one fact I must say, and I dare challenge anyone who I'm now accusing of being a spoiler to sue me or to say what I said was wrong. I won't mention name yet. I'm letting him, giving him enough rope to hang himself. And by this speech, I intend to cripple those devious moles, spies, agent provocateurs, cripple them mentally and let them suffer in the face of Allah. What I said earlier is what happened at the swearing in. More insidious was happened just before the swearing in. Tun Mahathir insisted in the Sheraton Hotel that the two judges will be present in the palace to witness and be additional witness to the swearing ceremony and to give advice if needed. What happened was, when the door was open and Tun Mahathir and all the other VIPs were invited to take their place in that chamber, the swearing hall before the Agong, these two judges were prevented from entering on the grounds that they were not invited to be present or as guests of Tun Mahathir. And yet, before the gate door was open, Tun Mahathir was chatting with the judges. Thank God, by the bravery and the stubbornness of two judges, they insisted on entering that sanctum and told the obstructor, we will enter, and if Tun doesn't want us to be present, we will go away. So they marched in, and towards the area where they would be sitting, the judges' area, they saw the names, alright, pasted to the back of the chair for which they were supposed to be seated. Next to the two chairs was the name of the interlocutor, the obstructor. So the two just said to that person, if we are not invited, we are not a guest, how come our names are stuck to the back of the chair? Therefore we are invited, aren't we? That person removed his name from his chair because they're not supposed to sit there anyway and disappeared out of sight. Can you see? Even at that detail, they were prepared to prevent Tun the benefit of wise judgment, advice from two judges. Did I say more? Did I say more? So you will notice, right, in my second last speech about a plot, some of you, didn't believe me, some cursed me, alright, or what have you. And some said, I must give more time to the government, new government, to do their work. I said, honeymoon's over. Why? Because for more than 50 years, the opposition have been in opposition, am I right? They ought to know how a government would be run or managed. But even if they were in opposition for all these years, if they don't know how to run, whose fault is it? If truth be told, they didn't even have a shadow cabinet or government. Can you see that? The diffidence, the ambition to be in power, federal power, they didn't have it. Not even when Anwar Ibrahim led the election in 2008 or 2013. To the entire period, they had no shadow cabinet at all. And when they won the state government of Penang and Selangor, two state governments, and in recent election, when they were campaigning, they didn't even have a shadow cabinet. Okay. But they promised that within 100 days, they will fulfill 10 objectives. That means they are able to do this very quickly. Otherwise, why promise to achieve 10 manifesto promises within 100 days? You see? So therefore, I have every right to say, honeymoon is over, move your ass, pull up your socks, and do the running as fast as you can. And it should be told again, and it's not a criticism of Lim Guan Yin, right? Did you not hear the remark he made, or read the remark he made in his speech? That Tun Mahathir is a workaholic. It's difficult to work with a workaholic. I won't make any more further comments. If the former Chief Minister of Penang, much younger, at least 30 years younger than Tun Mahathir, has the integrity and honesty to concede that Tun Mahathir at 92 is a workaholic, and his pace is tremendous. It's not easy to keep up the pace. It says a lot, isn't it? Therefore, should we allow more honeymoon? Or should we use the big stick and say, move your ass, keep pace with your leader? And yet, a lot of bought for cyber troopers, not this time from the UMNO BN, from the other side, talking rubbish and bull, and make fun of my call to be vigilant and demand that they work hard. MPs must be full-time, not be MP part-time and full-time lawyers, accountants, engineers, what have you. Right? So, ignore those cyber troopers, because now we have a phenomenon. Having whacked Najib stridently, consistently, they were very happy because they know whoever whacks Najib is a push in their favor. You will recall there was only one common denominator to unite for victory, as told by Tun Mahathir. All we need is unite under one common denominator, get rid of Najib. Thereafter, you can do anything you want. Recall that, huh? I didn't say it. Tun Mahathir said it. Pakatan leader said, we want to have a simple objective. Get rid of the scumbag criminal Prime Minister Najib. Then we will build a new Malaysia. Simple as that. Does that mean after we dispose of Najib, our lips are sealed, zipped, and can't criticize the Pakatan if they do wrong or fail to fulfill their promises? Nay. They have no right to arrogate to themselves that since become power, our lips are zipped. Now you see the phenomena. But the paid for, bought for Sabah troopers. You criticize Pakatan in any way, you are condemned. In like manner, as the cyber troopers of Najib, when we're criticizing them, foul words, misrepresentation, or what have you. So my fellow citizens, ignore them, but be vigilant at all times. No honeymoon. They ask us to work for them. They promise heaven, deliver heaven. Alright? They set the benchmark. They better live by that benchmark and not give excuses. Okay? Now, having said that, all of you learn the lesson why Najib regime lasted so long. Because everybody could be bothered. Zip their lips, no balls and guts to take action until it was too late when our country was suffering. Then we woke up at boiling point. The water must start boiling now. Only if the Pakatan Harapan government delivers, we will slow down the fire below boiling point. Otherwise, the water will remain warm and be heated up as and when needed. My next issue is this. Something startling has happened. Singapore, right, as reported by Malay Mail, has said that an arrest warrant has been out for billionaire JhoLow since May 2016. The Republic had also alerted the International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol, in October of 2016. As stated by the Singapore Attorney General's Chambers, the Commercial Affairs Department of the Singapore Police Force, and the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the central bank. Quote, at Singapore's request, Interpol published red notices for Low Teck Jo and Tan Kim Look in October 2016, who are suspected to have committed offences in Singapore and cannot be located here, meaning Singapore. Okay. So, if there was a red notice issued, okay, and requested by 3 official agencies of the government of Singapore in 2016, how can anyone in Malaysia under the then regime of Najib says no offences? There's no linkage between JhoLow and 1MDB. And I therefore remind you again, which I have referred to many times in my past speeches, the former Attorney General, Apandi, in a statement, 16 June 2017, a year later from the red notice. The red notice was requested by the AG of Singapore, the police force, and the central bank. This is what he said. Muhammad Apandi said 1MDB was the Malaysian company and had been the subject of multiple investigations within Malaysia, including the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, Auditor General, and Bipartisan Public Accounts Committee. After review, we found that no crime was committed. Presently, there is still an ongoing investigation conducted by the Royal Malaysia Police concerning 1MDB. But today, nothing has happened, no report. And then he says this, as a warning, as an intimidation, Apandi, we would like to express strong concerns at the insinuation that have been made against the Prime Minister of criminal wrongdoing. At no point in the civil claim is the Prime Minister named as a defendant or has been alleged to have committed any criminal wrongdoing. Okay? So, Apandi has tried to whitewash and proclaim the innocence of Najib and the cabal. Yet, okay, 24th June 2017, his statement is 16 June. 2 weeks later, Zeti, the then governor of Bank Negara, said this. Bank Negara Malaysia was powerless to take further action than just some fines to relevant bodies and financial institutions over breach of regulations in relation to the 1MDB case. So we could issue letters of administrative compound to relevant bodies and financial institutions breaching Bank Negara's regulations in the 1MDB case. I would say the fines were probably the highest in history. She added that the primary objective of B&M, Bank Negara Malaysia, in dealing with the 1MDB case was to ensure the integrity of the country's financial system. In March last year, Bank Negara Malaysia said it would initiate appropriate action against 1MDB for failing to produce evidence yet used the allocated US 1.83 billion for debt management and restructuring exercise overseas. 1MDB had initially cited these two reasons when asked why the money had been repatriated to Malaysian shores. B&M then fined 1MDB on April 28th, given the state-owned investment fund a May 30th deadline to settle the fine. So how can Pandi, AG says on 16 June, no offence committed, don't insinuate criminality of Najib? 26 June, Bank Negara says 1MDB has committed offences, but because they can't prosecute, they impose a fine, and the fine was imposed with the consent of the Apandi. And who controls 1MDB? Then, numbskull, scumbag, criminal Prime Minister. Now, you recall just now I said, right, Singapore has already issued requested red notice, right, by Interpol, and mentioned JhoLow specifically, and Tan Kim Loong. Right? They were in charge of the bank accounts in BSI Bank, and Franklin Bank, for on behalf of a corporation called Tenor Corporation, for which money came from JhoLow, round and round all the world, went to Tenor account in BSI, what have you, and went to BM's account, personal account in M Bank. And yet, on 7 March 2018, this year, before the election, okay, the present IGP, make the statement. Inspector General of Police Muhammad Fuzi Harun, Low Tek Jo, better known as JhoLow, was not linked to any decision or business deals made by one Malaysian, Dewan Berhad. Police carried out investigation against 1MDB based on the Public Accounts Committee report tabled in Parliament in April 7, 2016. Fuzi said if police receive any new evidence against Low, they will take appropriate action against him according to the relevant laws. Okay? Nor have we been contacted by any party to help in investigations. Okay? Can you imagine that? Singapore is issued to Interpol for JhoLow and Tan Kim Loong. Malaysia is a member of Interpol. Automatically, all member countries will have received the notice. Okay. Then how can the IGP, Fuzi, Apandi says, no evidence, and the conviction of the bankers in Singapore, right, upon they pleaded guilty, the Attorney General of Singapore had to present a statement of facts to the court, which I reproduced before all of you a few weeks ago, before the election, that the statement of facts by a Swiss banker and two Singaporeans, all right, admitting to the crimes of money laundering in conjunction with JhoLow and Tan Kim Loong. These are convictions. And they say, no request for help. Swiss requested, DOJ requested, but Apande refused, and you, the police force, having received the notice request by Singapore, what do you do? Nothing. Can you see now the extent of corruption, abuse of power, cover up. And just recently, Najib the numbskull, thick skin, trying to take a dig at Tun Mahathir says, look, there's no evidence against me. Produce a charge in 215. Right? Bring me the charge, let me see. Tun was really saying that be very thorough, more thorough than 215, to ensure that we will convict at least this fella, Najib, with concrete, solid, beyond dispute, okay? More than beyond reasonable doubt, ironclad case against him. So he cannot wriggle out. That doesn't mean there's no evidence. The evidence is all there. Singapore, DOJ, and Switzerland. All there. It's enough to kill him politically, which is already dead because he's no longer Prime Minister, but he's still, with the remnants, trying to undermine the integrity of our country. He stashed millions in his house. He do funny things, and this man has no shame at all. Let's him plead his innocence. Now, let me tell all of you, right, before I go on to JhoLow again, about the red notice, okay? What it means, what other notice, and why to today, right? Our police is still under the leash of Fuzi, or why did not our government? Because in the Interpol, notice must be given by a police force of a country requesting, not individual. Okay? It says here, no, can Interpol make arrests? First question. Huh? No, Interpol General Secretariat does not send officers into countries to arrest individuals. Has notice given out to member countries. If the crook is that country, the police force, the enforcement agencies of that country can arrest pursuant the notice. If JhoLow is in that country, for example, okay? All investigations and arrests in each Interpol member country are carried out by the national police in accordance with national law. What is Interpol Red Notice? Interpol Red Notice is the closest instrument to an international arrest warrant in use today. Interpol circulates notice to member countries listing persons who are wanted for extradition. Then, what is Red Corner Notice? Red Corner Notice is an arrest warrant circulated by Interpol on behalf of the government of a particular country. It is a request from one country to another to arrest and deport the wanted individual. So my question is, right, there is a difference between Interpol Red Notice and Interpol Red Corner Notice. So if we know JhoLow is, for example, is in Taiwan, China, or whatever, there is already a red notice issued by Singapore. But what we should do is ask Interpol to issue a red corner notice, for which Interpol will circulate to all the member countries, and then we, Malaysia, will request, if we know for sure that JhoLow is in Taiwan or China, anywhere, we will request that country arrest that person, JhoLow, or whatever, okay, and deport the individual to Malaysia. Notice that red corner notice does not involve extradition, okay, very important. Then you have the blue notice. Why? blue notice is to locate, identify, or obtain information on a person of interest in a criminal investigation. So we are asking Interpol to issue, which we ought to have, a blue notice in addition. The other member countries can help locate, identify, and give us information about JhoLow, Husseini Kubaisi, okay, Zid, the accomplice of JhoLow, Jasmine Liu, and all those criminal bastards, Arab bastards, okay? And then you have yellow notice, a global alert to help locate missing persons. Well, he's missing, he's gone missing, we don't know where he is. So, we can also request a yellow notice for countries to help us find the fellow. Is he hiding? Is he a fugitive where? Understand? Okay? And then you have Interpol diffusion notice. A diffusion notice is like a red notice. It is an international alert which notifies law enforcement authorities in one country that those of another country are seeking the arrest of a specific person. Other than red notice, a diffusion is not published by Interpol at the country's request. So a diffusion notice, right, is secret, so that that person who's running away can be captured, right, without publicity. Okay. Now, recently, someone said, we have difficulty, in bringing JhoLow to Malaysia because there will be problems of extradition. Okay. So, very quickly, let me explain to you what's extradition. It is a transfer of an accused person from one state or country to another state or country that seeks to place the accused on trial. So extradition only kicks in, okay, if there is an effort, okay, to put that person on trial. Okay, you can issue a charge, arrest warrant, Malaysia locally, and say that this person has committed a crime, right? We want to arrest him, and we want to bring him on trial. If you know for example, that person is in Australia, and there's a trial pending, he's accused, then you invoke extradition, for which the receiving country of that request will then look at the request. Like Cyril's case, because he was sentenced to death, the country received the request and said, no, I will not extradite him because we as a country, Australia, object to death penalty. But that doesn't mean he's not guilty. On the grounds that he may be subject to a death penalty and we have abolished the death penalty, we will allow him to remain in Australia but under incarceration, under detention, not a free man. Okay. And other issues, okay? This is the general concept of extradition. But let me tell you that it is not necessary in every case. If you have a crook, and this is the biggest kleptocracy in the world, the biggest money laundering scam in the world, or if it's a terrorist, a kingpin drug, right? Kingpin. You don't have to have extradition. International law governs extradition because it's between the countries of the world. But international law also recognizes the right of country to abduct a criminal and accused by one country for which he is a citizen to go to another country if extradition is too long a process. If a country wants to bypass extradition and go to another country and abduct that accused, that criminal, it can be done. And the Supreme Court of the United States of America upheld the right to do that. Supreme Court. Now you can't say US law doesn't apply. Because the United States and any other country subscribe to international law. And Supreme Court says of US, we better listen. But beyond that, I can give you examples, right? Where a state has abducted an alleged criminal from a territory of one state to another, after normal extradition procedures fail or without attempting to use them. For example, so what I'm saying to you, we have to consider abduction if JhoLow continue to hide and not cooperate, even though we ask them to cooperate, okay? If you try to be funny, because he has previously, in my previous speech says, by a WeChat, he directed the captain of the yacht for his own equanimity to not sail to America, to UK, to Singapore, where there are laws for extradition. Hide the yacht somewhere. That's why we went to Bali, okay? And was seized. So JhoLow knows his law. He's advised by very brilliant lawyers. Alright? He's been evading. Okay? So in such case, even US Supreme Court recognized those rights as other countries. Remember to you, Modern Sober, 1950, adapted from Mexico to the United States. Adolf Eichmann, 1960, from Argentina to Israel for war crimes. Antoine Agu, 63, Germany to France. Abducted in Germany, brought to France. Yi Sang-yoon, 1907, abducted from West Germany to South Korea. Mordechai Vanunu, 86, from Italy to Israel. Humberto Alvarez McCain, from Mexico to United States. Abdullah Öcalan, 99, Kenya to Turkey. Wang Bingjiang, 202, from Vietnam to China. Hassan Mustafa Osama Nasser, 203, Italy to Egypt. Rodrigo Granda, 204, from Venezuela to Colombia. Konstantin Yaroshenko, 208, Liberia to United States. Dira Abu Sisi, 211, Ukraine to Israel. Gui Minhai, 215, Thailand to China. Tri Xuan Tan, 217, from Germany to Vietnam. So adoption is a legitimate legal process when someone is evading the law and try to hide under some extradition provisions to delay matters. So, where is a consistent, persistent, determined effort to bring JhoLow? Have I explained to you? We don't necessarily have to go by extradition. Most of it is in Taiwan. Right? Taiwan is not a country. America and the world recognize one China only. But they have maintained, all right, security arrangements, that's all. Okay. So if we are determined, if we know that JhoLow is in Taiwan, we can appeal to two countries for help. China and USA. And USA has already conducted DOJ investigation, FBI investigation, and brought cases before the California court for feature processing, and criminal process has commenced. So come on. Why are we wishy-washy, goyang kaki? One China guy, young punk, criminal asshole, scumbag, free and toying with the new government. I will cooperate, I will do this, do that, then come home. You see, one man, a young China guy, playing pucks. First with the previous government, and now with the new government. I therefore call on the new AG and whoever is in charge of the police force or the new IGP, butt up, pull up the socks, no excuses, send our forces, bring back if we refuse. Alright? And write and make official requests to China to the United States of America. They know where is JhoLow. Take him out, bring him here. We don't have to go to extradition. If the case is so bad, and it's very bad, isn't it? Jeff Sessions, DOJ of the United States of America, says the worst kleptocracy. Billions have been siphoned off. And we want to take money, recover money, right, from USA, Switzerland, and Singapore. And now, Lee Kuan Yew, as the Minister of Finance, has revealed more monies have been robbed. Our country has been raped, excuse me, not once, many times, raped. And we are taking our own sweet time. I have no right, as a citizen who fought the regime, went to jail for her, by the actions of the regime, I have no right to say anything. I must zip my mouth. Pakatan leaders, nah. Okay? I have every right to criticize. I'm not accusing them. I'm saying, move your ass, move your butt, and get on with it. Okay? Get on with it. Okay? So I expect proper attitude, proper conduct of all the enforcement agencies. Don't give excuse that, you are new, right? You may be new, but the people in the agencies are experienced. Don't talk about reformacy with me, okay? Reformacy starts with the individual, the human being, understand? The systems have been in existence since before our independence. The courts, the judiciary, the government, the police, the legislative chambers, all have been there. No change. Except the personalities. You put a bad apple in a barrel of apple, the whole barrel will turn poisonous. Okay? It's who you appoint, who you have trained, who you have installed. That person can either lift the institution, new standards, new peak of excellence, or result in making wherever he goes a cesspool of corruption and criminality. So focus on the individual. A good person can turn corrupt. A bad person can be good given the circumstances and motivation. Alright? So, I hope what I've disclosed to you makes sense to you. Alright? And I want all of you to be vigilant of betrayal. See, many people ask me, what took me so long? How do I get my evidence? I give you a clue. You can say I'm a sadist. When you fight against evil, most planted within your organization, spies, agent provocateur. To remove spies, moles, agent provocateurs, traitors, it's like peeling an onion, understand? One layer by layer. It's not easy to peel iron, it gets smarter. Peels will flow if you don't know how to peel. So it's a tedious process. You peel, you get more information, you peel and peel until you get the core. Okay? I've been doing that for years. Right? And I bring them close and personal to me so I can even smell the sulfur of the devilish plans and make them mentally crippled. They know that I know who they are. I have no power. I'm not a prime minister, I'm not a minister, I'm not a police force, I'm an individual. By the grace of God and strength, I'm pursuing them. I have nowhere to hide. Just as you recall in my previous speech, I exposed, right, how the British peel layer and layer of onion to expose the Cambridge spy ring, Cambridge 5. Don't think like spies are, no, alright, lumped elements, left wing, whatever. Most spies are within you, your organization, within you. No walls can be fought and won if you do not plant your spies in the enemy's camp and do not have any illusion enemies will plant spies in our camp and destroy us. Remember, Sir Anthony Blunt, elite of the elite, advised the Queen, was the 5th member of the spy ring called Cambridge Spy Ring, Cambridge University. Okay, now, lastly, I want to tell all of you, right, why I'm still fighting. Because I want victory. I want to uphold justice and truth as commanded by Allah. Now, for those, whether you're Muslim or non-Muslim, may I refer you to Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 2 and 4. If I may quickly, okay, about why Allah tells us, have faith, that every day you are put to trials and tribulations, and how, if you can overcome those trials and stand firm, victory will be delivered. Okay? So, may I quote for you? Oh, think that you will enter paradise without such trials as came to those who passed away before you. They were afflicted with severe poverty and ailments and were so shaken that even the messenger and those who believed along with him said, when will come the help of Allah? Yes, certainly, the help of Allah is near. Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 2 and 4. Meaning, be always positive, they will win. As I said so, despite all the trials and tribulations. We went through one major trial. Can you read of Najib? There'll be more trials. Remnants and evil emerging again. Destroys from within. And then, in the next surah, Al-Nur, chapter 24, verse 55, if I read to you. Allah has promised those among you who believe and do righteous good deeds that He will certainly grant them succession to and in the earth, as He granted it to those before them, and that He will grant them the authority to practice their religion, that which He has chosen for them. And He will surely give them in exchange a safe security after their fear, provided they believe, they worship Me and do not associate anything with Me. But whosoever disbelieve after this, they are fasiqun, rebellious, disobedient to Allah. Meaning, in this surah, you believe in Him, you follow His commandments, victory is assured. You go any other path, that's it. That's why I say I'm so confident. In the Quran it says that. Have absolute faith, surrender, and victory will be there. Right? And then in chapter 47, ayat 7, Muhammad, O you who believe, if you help in the cause of Allah, He will help you and make your foothold firm. But those who disbelieve in the wonders of Allah, for them is destruction, and Allah will make their deeds vain. This is a very powerful surah. For you who believe, if you help in the cause of Allah, He will help you and make your foothold firm. Allah will help you if you believe and fight for His cause. They are not saying our cause is more than what's on this earth, this world. Uphold justice, uphold truth. The second most important party, second to loving Allah, justice. This is the cause. That's why I can be so confident that before election we can win a big majority. And on a 7 p.m. 9th May evening after the close of polls, I told Tun Mahathir himself, we will win with a big majority. My confidence is not speculation, wishy-washy thinking. is a firm faith with Allah God Almighty as revealed in the Quran and also other scriptures. Does that surprise you, being a Christian? You shouldn't be. There's only one God. That word, that inspiration, is the greatest ammunition and fortification that you can ever have. Therefore, before I conclude, once again, I've revealed certain things to you in the middle of my speech. There is the second layer of the onion that I have opened for you. The first layer was the previous speech about plots, phase 1 and phase 2. This is another layer of onion. Let them sweat. Let them shudder. Let them, crawl about in darkness, in shame. When will they be hit? Oh, I'm not going to be. I want to reveal the name so fast. Surely not. They must be first crippled mentally so they do no harm anymore. And then leave it to God Almighty to deliver the right judgment. And if this government fail us because of their arrogance and because victory has clouded their judgment and delusion them from their duty to follow the instructions of Allah. Let me warn all of them without exception. Without exception, Allah will deliver the cleansing fire. When that day comes, may God forgive them, because we can't. With that, I thank you for this rather lengthy speech. I have no choice. With that, have a good day, and God bless you all.